whose parents owned a food store, lived near him. Suddenly, without any warning, her parents discovered she was with child. This made her parents angry. She would not confess who the man was, but after much harassment, at last named Hakuin. In great anger, the parents went to the master. "Is that so?" was all he would say. After the child was born, it was brought to Hakuin. By this time he had lost his reputation, which did not trouble him. But he took very good care of the child. He obtained milk from his neighbors and everything else the little one needed. A year later, the girl mother could stand it no longer. She told her parents the truth, that the real father of the child was a young man who worked in the fish market. The mother and father of the girl at once went to Hakuin to ask his forgiveness, to apologize at length, and to get the child back again. Hakuin was willing. In yielding the child, all he said was, "Is that so?" The Master Bankei's talks were attended not only by Zen students, but by persons of all ranks and sects. He never quoted sutras, nor indulged in scholastic dissertations. Instead, his words were spoken directly from his heart to the hearts of his listeners. His large audiences angered a priest of the Nichiren sect, because the adherents had left to hear about Zen. The self-centered Nichiren priest came to the temple, determined to debate with Bankei. "A Zen teacher," he called out, "wait a minute. Whoever respects you will obey what you say, but a man like myself does not respect you. Can you make me obey you?" "Come up beside me and I will show you," said Bankei. Proudly, the priest pushed his way through the crowd to the teacher. Bankei smiled. "Come over to my left side." The priest obeyed. "No," said Bankei, "we may talk better if you are on the right side. Step over here." The priest proudly stepped over to the right. "You see," observed Bankei, "you are obeying me, and I think you are a very gentle person. Now sit down and listen." 20 monks and one nun who was named Ishun were practicing meditation with a certain Zen master. Ishun was very pretty, even though her head was shaved and her dress plain. Several monks secretly fell in love with her. One of them wrote her a love letter, insisting upon a private meeting. Ishun did not reply. The following day, the master gave a lecture to the group, and when it was over, Ishun arose. Addressing the one who had written her, she said, "If you really love me so much, come and embrace me now." There was an old woman in China who had supported a monk for over 20 years. She had built a little hut for him and fed him while he was meditating. Finally, she wondered just what progress he had made in all this time. To find out, she obtained the help of a girl rich in desire. "Go and embrace him," she told her, and then asked him suddenly, "What now?" The girl called upon the monk, and without much ado caressed him, asking him what he was going to do about it. "An old tree grows on a cold rock in winter," replied the monk somewhat poetically. "Nowhere is there any warmth." The girl returned and related what he had said. "To think I fed that fellow for 20 years, exclaimed the old woman in anger. "He showed no consideration for your need, no disposition to explain your condition. He need not have responded to passion, but at least he should have evidenced some compassion." She at once went to the hut of the monk and burned it down. In the early days of the Meiji era, there lived a well-known wrestler called Onami, Great Waves. Onami was immensely strong and knew the art of wrestling. In his private bouts, he defeated even his teacher, but in public he was so bashful that his own pupils threw him. Onami felt he should go to a Zen master for help. Hakuju, a wandering teacher, was stopping in a little temple nearby, so Onami went to see him and told him of his great trouble. "Great Waves is your name," the teacher advised. "So stay in this temple tonight. Imagine that you are those billows. You are no longer a wrestler who is afraid. You are those huge waves sweeping everything before them, swallowing all in their path. Do this, and you will be the greatest wrestler in the land." The teacher retired. Onami sat in meditation, trying to imagine himself as waves. He thought of many different things. Then gradually he turned more and more to the feeling of the waves. As the night advanced, the waves became larger and larger. They swept away the flowers in their vases. Even the Buddha in the shrine was inundated. Before dawn, the temple was nothing but the ebb and flow of an immense sea. In the morning, the teacher found Onami meditating, a faint smile on his face. He patted the wrestler's shoulder. "Now nothing can disturb you," he said. "You are those waves. You will sweep everything before you." The same day, Onami entered the wrestling contest and won. After that, no one in Japan was able to defeat him. Ryokan, the Zen master, lived the simplest kind of life in a little hut at the foot of a mountain. One evening, a thief visited the hut, only to discover there was nothing in it to steal. Ryokan returned and caught him. "You may have come a long way to visit me," he told the prowler, "and you should not return empty-handed. Please, take my clothes as a gift." The thief was bewildered. He took the clothes and slunk away. Ryokan sat naked, watching the moon. "Poor fellow," he mused. "I wish I could give him this beautiful moon." The Zen master Hoshin lived in China many years. Then he returned to the northeastern part of Japan, where he taught his disciples. When he was getting very old, he told them a story he had heard in China. This is the story. One year, on the 25th of December, Tokufu, who was very old, said to his disciples, "I'm not going to be alive next year, so you fellows should treat me well this year." The pupils thought he was joking, but since he was a great-hearted teacher, each of them in turn treated him to a feast on succeeding days of the departing year. On the eve of the new year, Tokufu concluded, "You have been good to me. I shall leave you tomorrow afternoon when the snow has stopped." The disciples laughed, thinking he was aging and talking nonsense since the night was clear and without snow. But at midnight, snow began to fall, and the next day they did not find their teacher about. They went to the meditation hall. There he had passed on. Hoshin, who related this story, told his disciples, "It is not necessary for a Zen master to predict his passing, but if he really wishes to do so, he can." "Can you?" someone asked. "Yes," answered Hoshin. "I will show you what I can do 7 days from now." None of the disciples believed him, and most of them had even forgotten the conversation when Hoshin called them together. "7 days ago," he remarked, "I said I was going to leave you. It is customary to write a farewell poem, but I am neither a poet nor calligrapher. Let one of you inscribe my last words." His followers thought he was joking, but one of them started to write. "Are you ready?" Hoshin asked. "Yes, sir," replied the writer. Then Hoshin dictated, "I came from brilliancy and return to brilliancy. What is this?" The poem was 1 line short of the customary 4, so the disciple said, "Master, we are 1 line short." Hoshin, with the roar of a conquering lion, shouted, "Ka!" and was gone. The exquisite Shunkei, whose other name was Suzu, was compelled to marry against her wishes when she was quite young. Later, after this marriage had ended, she attended the university where she studied philosophy. To see Shunkei was to fall in love with her. Moreover, wherever she went, she herself fell in love with others. Love was with her at the university, and afterwards, when philosophy did not satisfy her and she visited a temple to learn about Zen, the Zen students fell in love with her. Shunkei's whole life was saturated with love. At last in Kyoto, she became a real student of Zen. Her brothers in the sub-temple of Kenin praised her sincerity. One of them proved to be a congenial spirit and assisted her in the mastery of Zen. The abbot of Kenin, Mokurai, Silent Thunder, was severe. He kept the precepts himself and expected his priests to do so. In modern Japan, whatever zeal these priests have lost for Buddhism, they seem to have gained for taking wives. Mokurai used to take a broom and chase the women away when he found them in any of his temples, but the more wives he swept out, the more seemed to come back. In this particular temple, the wife of the head priest became jealous of Shunkei's earnestness and beauty. Hearing the students praise her serious Zen made this wife squirm and itch. Finally, she spread a rumor about Shunkei and the young man who was her friend. As a consequence, he was expelled, and Shunkei was removed from the temple. "I may have made the mistake of love," thought Shunkei, "but the priest's wife shall not remain in the temple either if my friend is to be treated so unjustly." Shunkei the same night with a can of kerosene set fire to the 500-year-old temple and burned it to the ground. In the morning she found herself in the hands of the police. A young lawyer became interested in her and endeavored to make her sentence lighter. "Do not help me," she told him. "I might decide to do something else which would only imprison me again." At last a sentence of 7 years was completed, and Shunkei was released from the prison, where the 60-year-old warden also had become enamored of her. But now everyone looked upon her as a jailbird. No one would associate with her. Even the Zen people, who were supposed to believe in enlightenment in this life and with this body, shunned her. Zen, Shunkei found, was one thing, and the followers of Zen quite another. Her relatives would have nothing to do with her. She grew sick, poor, and weak. She met a Shinsu priest who taught her the name of the Buddha of love, and in this Shunke found some solace and peace of mind. She passed away when she was still exquisitely beautiful and hardly 30 years old. She wrote her own story in a futile endeavor to support herself, and some of it she told to a woman writer, so it reached the Japanese people. Those who rejected Shunke, those who slandered and hated her, now read of her life with tears of remorse. In Tokyo in the Meiji era, there lived two prominent teachers of opposite characteristics. One, Unsho, an instructor in Shingon, kept Buddha's precepts scrupulously. He never drank intoxicants, nor did he eat after 11 o'clock in the morning. The other teacher, Tanzan, a professor of philosophy at the Imperial University, never observed the precepts. When he felt like eating, he ate, and when he felt like sleeping in the daytime, he slept. One day Unsho visited Tanzan, who was drinking wine at the time, not even a drop of which is supposed to touch the tongue of a Buddhist. "Hello, brother," Tanzan greeted him. "Won't you have a drink?" "I never drink," exclaimed Unsho solemnly. "For one who does not drink is not even human," said Tanzan. "Do you mean to call me inhuman just because I do not indulge in intoxicating liquids?" exclaimed Unsho in anger. "Then if I am not human, what am I?" "A Buddha," answered Tanzan.
Mental's fresh and full of life. Nothing gets to you. Staying fresh, staying cool. With mental's fresh and full of life. Fresh goes better. Mental's freshness. Fresh goes better. Mental's fresh and full of life. Mentos, the fresh maker.
Shoun became a teacher of Soto Zen. When he was still a student, his father passed away, leaving him to care for his old mother. Whenever Shoun went to a meditation hall, he always took his mother with him. Since she accompanied him when he visited monasteries, he could not live with the monks. So he would build a little house and care for her there. He would copy sutras, Buddhist verses, and in this manner receive a few coins for food. When Shoun brought fish for his mother, people would scoff at him, for a monk is not supposed to eat fish. But Shoun did not mind. His mother, however, was hurt to see others laugh at her son. Finally she told Shoun, "I think I will become a nun. I can be a vegetarian too." She did, and they studied together. Shoun was fond of music and was a master of the harp, which his mother also played. On full moon nights they used to play together. One night a young lady passed by their house and heard music. Deeply touched, she invited Shoun to visit her the next evening and play. He accepted the invitation. A few days later he met the young lady on the street and thanked her for her hospitality. Others laughed at him. He had visited the house of a woman of the streets. One day Shoun left for a distant temple to deliver a lecture. A few months afterwards he returned home to find his mother dead. Friends had not known where to reach him, so the funeral was then in progress. Shoun walked up and hit the coffin with his staff. "Mother, your son has returned," he said. "I'm glad to see you've returned, son," he answered for his mother. "Yes, I'm glad too," Shoun responded. Then he announced to the people about him, "The funeral ceremony is over. You may bury the body." When Shoun was old, he knew his end was approaching. He asked his disciples to gather around him in the morning, telling them he was going to pass on at noon. Burning incense before the picture of his mother and his old teacher, he wrote a poem. "For 56 years, I lived as best I could, making my way in this world. Now the rain has ended. The clouds are clearing. The blue sky has a full moon." His disciples gathered about him, reciting a sutra, and Shoun passed on during the invocation. A university student, while visiting Gasan, asked him, "Have you ever read the Christian Bible?" "No, read it to me," said Gasan. The student opened the Bible and read from St. Matthew. "And why take ye thought for raiment? Consider the lilies of the field, how they grow. They toil not, neither do they spin. And yet I say unto you that even Solomon in all his glory was not arrayed like one of these. Take therefore no thought for the morrow shall take thought for the things of itself." Gasan said, "Whoever uttered those words I consider an enlightened man." The student continued reading. "Ask, and it shall be given you. Seek, and ye shall find. Knock, and it shall be opened unto you. For everyone that asketh receiveth, and he that seeketh findeth, and to him that knocketh it shall be opened." Hassan remarked. That is excellent. Whoever said that is not far from good. Buddha told a parable in a sutra. A man traveling across a field encountered a tiger. He fled, the tiger after him. Coming to a precipice, he caught hold of the root of a wild vine and swung himself down over the edge. The tiger sniffed at him from above. Trembling, the man looked down to where, far below, another tiger was waiting to eat him. Only the vine sustained him. Two mice, one white and one black, little by little started to gnaw away the vine. The man saw a luscious strawberry near him. Grasping the vine with one hand, he plucked the strawberry with the other. How sweet it tasted. When one goes to Obaku Temple in Kyoto, he sees carved over the gate the words, "The First Principle." The letters are unusually large, and those who appreciate calligraphy always admire them as being a masterpiece. They were drawn by Kosen 200 years ago. When the master drew them, he did so on paper from which workmen made the larger carving in wood. As Kosen sketched the letters, a bold pupil was with him who had made several gallons of ink for the calligraphy and who never failed to criticize his master's work. "That is not good," he told Kosen after the first effort. "How was that one?" "Poor, worse than before," pronounced the pupil. Kosen patiently wrote one sheet after another until 84 first principles had accumulated, still without the approval of the pupil. Then when the young man stepped outside for a few moments, Kosen thought, now is my chance to escape his keen eye, and he wrote hurriedly with a mind free from distraction, "The First Principle." "A masterpiece," pronounced the pupil. Jiun, a Shingon master, was a well-known Sanskrit scholar of the Tokugawa era. When he was young, he used to deliver lectures to his brother's students. His mother heard about this and wrote him a letter. "Son, I do not think you became a devotee of the Buddha because you desired to turn into a walking dictionary for others. There is no end to information and commentation, glory and honor. I wish you would stop this lecture business. Shut yourself up in a little temple in a remote part of the mountain. Devote your time to meditation, and in this way, attain true realization." The master of Kenin Temple was Mokurai, Silent Thunder. He had a little protege named Toyo, who was only 12 years old. Toyo saw the older disciples visit the master's room each morning and evening to receive instructions in sanzen, or personal guidance, in which they were given koans to stop mind-wandering. Toyo wished to do a sanzen also. "Wait a while," said Mokurai. "You're too young." But the child insisted, so the teacher finally consented. In the evening, little Toyo went at the proper time to the threshold of Mokurai's sanzen room. He struck the gong to announce his presence, bowed respectfully 3 times outside the door, and went to sit before the master in respectful silence. "You can hear the sound of 2 hands when they clap together," said Mokurai. "Now show me the sound of 1 hand." Toyo bowed and went to his room to consider this problem. From his window he could hear the music of the geishas. "Ah, I have it," he proclaimed. The next evening, when his teacher asked him to illustrate the sound of 1 hand, Toyo began to play the music of the geishas. No, said Mokurai, "that will never do. That is not the sound of 1 hand. You've not got it at all." Thinking that such music might interrupt, Toyo moved his abode to a quiet place. He meditated again. What can the sound of 1 hand be? He happened to hear some water dripping. "I have it," imagined Toyo. When he next appeared before his teacher, Toyo imitated dripping water. "What is that?" asked Mokurai. "That is the sound of dripping water, but not the sound of 1 hand. Try again." In vain, Toyo meditated to hear the sound of 1 hand. He heard the sighing of the wind, but the sound was rejected. He heard the cry of an owl. This also was refused. The sound of 1 hand was not the locusts. For more than 10 times, Toyo visited Mokurai with different sounds. All were wrong. For almost a year, he pondered what the sound of 1 hand might be. At last, little Toyo entered true meditation and transcended all sounds. "I could collect no more," he explained later, "so I reached the soundless sound." Toyo had realized the sound of 1 hand. Soyen Shaku, the first Zen teacher to come to America, said, "My heart burns like fire, but my eyes are as cold as dead ashes. He made the following rules which he practiced every day of his life. In the morning before dressing, light incense and meditate. Retire at a regular hour. Partake of food at regular intervals. Eat with moderation and never to the point of satisfaction. Receive a guest with the same attitude you have when alone. When alone, maintain the same attitude you have in receiving guests. Watch what you say, and whatever you say, practice it. When an opportunity comes, do not let it pass by, yet always think twice before acting. Do not regret the past, look to the future. Have the fearless attitude of a hero and the loving heart of a child. Upon retiring, sleep as if you had entered your last sleep. Upon awakening, leave your bed behind you instantly, as if you would cast away a pair of old shoes. When Aishun, the Zen nun, was past 60 and about to leave this world, she asked some monks to pile up wood in the yard. Seating herself firmly in the center of the funeral pyre, she had it set fire around the edges. "Oh, nun," shouted one monk, "is it hot in there?" "Such a matter would concern only a stupid person like yourself," answered Aishun. The flames arose, and she passed away. A farmer requested a Tendai priest to recite sutras for his wife who had died. After the recitation was over, the farmer asked, "Do you think my wife will gain merit from this?" "Not only your wife, but all sentient beings will benefit from the recitation of sutras," answered the priest. "If you say all sentient beings will benefit," said the farmer, "my wife may be very weak and others will take advantage of her, getting the benefit she should have. So please, recite sutras just for her." The priest explained that it was the desire of a Buddhist to offer blessings and wish merit for every living being. "That is a fine teaching," concluded the farmer, "but please make one exception. I have a neighbor who is rough and mean to me. Just exclude him from all those sentient beings." Suiwo, the disciple of Hakuin, was a good teacher. During one summer seclusion period, a pupil came to him from a southern island of Japan. Suiwo gave him a problem. Hear the sound of one hand. The pupil remained 3 years but could not pass this test. One night he came in tears to Suiwo. "I must return south in shame and embarrassment," he said, "for I cannot solve my problem." "Wait 1 week more and meditate constantly," advised Suiwo. Still no enlightenment came to the pupil. "Try for another week," said Suiwo. The pupil obeyed, but in vain. Still another week. Yet this was of no avail. In despair, the student begged to be released, but Suiwo requested another meditation of 5 days. They were without result. Then he said, "Meditate for 3 days longer. Then if you fail to attain enlightenment, you had better kill yourself." On the second day, the pupil was enlightened. Provided he makes and wins an argument about Buddhism with those who live there, any wandering monk can remain in a Zen temple. If he is defeated, he has to move on. In a temple in the northern part of Japan, 2 brother monks were dwelling together. The elder one was learned, but the younger one was stupid and had but one eye. A wandering monk came and asked for lodging, properly challenging them to a debate about the sublime teaching. The elder brother, tired that day from much studying, told the younger one to take his place. "Go and request the dialogue in silence," he cautioned. So the young monk and the stranger went to the shrine and sat down. Shortly afterwards, the traveler rose and went into the elder brother and said, "Your young brother is a wonderful fellow. He defeated me." "Relate the dialogue to me," said the elder one. "Well," explained the traveler, "first I held up 1 finger, representing Buddha, the enlightened one. So he held up 2 fingers, signifying Buddha and his teaching. I held up 3 fingers, representing Buddha, his teaching, and his followers living the harmonious life. Then he shook his clenched fist in my face, indicating that all 3 come from one realization. Thus he won, and so I have no right to remain here." With this, the traveler left. "Where's that fellow?" asked the younger one, running into his elder brother. "I understand you won the debate." "Won nothing. I'm going to beat him up." "Tell me the subject of the debate," asked the elder one. "Why, the minute he saw me, he held up 1 finger, insulting me by insinuating that I have only 1 eye. Since he was a stranger, I thought I would be polite to him, so I held up 2 fingers, congratulating him that he has 2 eyes. Then the impolite wretch held up 3 fingers, suggesting that between us we only have 3 eyes. So I got mad and started to punch him, but he ran out and that ended it." After Bankei had passed away, a blind man who lived near the master's temple told a friend, "Since I'm blind, I cannot watch a person's face, so I must judge his character by the sound of his voice. Ordinarily, when I hear someone congratulate another upon his happiness or success, I also hear a secret tone of envy. When condolence is expressed for the misfortune of another, I hear pleasure and satisfaction, as if the one condoling was really glad there was something left to gain in his own world." In all my experience, however, Bankei's voice was always sincere. Whenever he expressed happiness, I heard nothing but happiness, and whenever he expressed sorrow, sorrow was all I heard. Keichu, the great Zen teacher of the Meiji era, was the head of Tofuku, a cathedral in Kyoto. One day the governor of Kyoto called upon him for the first time. His attendant presented the card of the governor, which read, "Kitagaki, governor of Kyoto." "I have no business with such a fellow," said Keichu to his attendant. "Tell him to get out of here." The attendant carried the card back with apologies. "That was my error," said the governor, and with a pencil he scratched out the words, "Governor of Kyoto." "Ask your teacher again." "Oh, is that Kitagaki?" exclaimed the teacher when he saw the card. "I want to see that fellow." When Banzan was walking through a market, he overheard a conversation between a butcher and his customer. "Give me the best piece of meat you have," said the customer. "Everything in my shop is the best," replied the butcher. "You cannot find here any piece of meat that is not the best." At these words, Banzan became enlightened. Mokusen Hiki was living in a temple in the province of Tamba. One of his adherents complained of the stinginess of his wife. Mokusen visited the adherent's wife and showed her his clenched fist before her face. "What do you mean by that?" asked the surprised woman. "Suppose my fist were always like that. What would you call it?" he asked. "Deformed," replied the woman. Then he opened his hand flat in her face and asked, "Suppose it were always like that. What then?" "Another kind of deformity," said the wife. "If you understand that much," finished Mokusen, "you are a good wife." Then he left. After his visit, this wife helped her husband to distribute as well as to save. Mokugen was never known to smile until his last day on earth. When his time came to pass away, he said to his faithful ones, "You have studied under me for more than 10 years. Show me your real interpretation of Zen. Whoever expresses this most clearly shall be my successor and receive my robe and bowl." Everyone watched Mokugen's severe face, but no one answered. Encho, a disciple who had been with his teacher for a long time, moved near the bedside. He pushed forward the medicine cup a few inches. This was his answer to the command. The teacher's face became even more severe. "Is that all you understand?" he asked. Encho reached out and moved the cup back again. A beautiful smile broke over the features of Mokugen. "You rascal," he told Encho. "You have worked with me 10 years and have not yet seen my whole body. Take the robe and bowl. They belong to you." Zen students are with their masters at least 10 years before they presume to teach others. Non-In was visited by Tenno, who, having passed his apprenticeship, had become a teacher. The day happened to be rainy, so Tenno wore wooden clogs and carried an umbrella. After greeting him, Non-In remarked, "I suppose you left your wooden clogs in the vestibule. I want to know if your umbrella is on the right or left side of the clogs." Tenno, confused, had no instant answer. He realized that he was unable to carry his Zen every minute. He became Non-In's pupil, and he studied 6 more years to accomplish his every-minute Zen. Subhuti was Buddha's disciple. He was able to understand the potency of emptiness, the viewpoint that nothing exists except in its relationship of subjectivity and objectivity. One day, Subhuti, in a mood of sublime emptiness, was sitting under a tree. Flowers began to fall about him. "We are praising you for your discourse on emptiness," the gods whispered to him. "But I have not spoken of emptiness," said Subhuti. You have not spoken of emptiness. We have not heard emptiness, responded the gods. This is the true emptiness, and blossoms showered upon Subhuti as rain. Gisho was ordained as a nun when she was 10 years old. She received training just as the little boys did. When she reached the age of 16, she traveled from one Zen master to another, studying with them all. She remained 3 years with Unzan, 6 years with Guke, but was unable to obtain a clear vision. At last, she went to the master Inzan. Inzan showed her no distinction at all on account of her sex. He scolded her like a thunderstorm. He cuffed her to awaken her inner nature. Gisho remained with Inzan 13 years, and then she found that which she was seeking. In her honor, Inzan wrote a poem. This nun studied 13 years under my guidance. In the evening, she considered the deepest koans. In the morning, she was wrapped in other koans. The Chinese nun Tetsuma surpassed all before her, and since Mujaku, none has been so genuine as this Gisho. Yet there are many more gates for her to pass through. She should receive still more blows from my iron fist. After Gisho was enlightened, she went to the province of Banshu, started her own Zen temple, and taught 200 other nuns until she passed away 1 year in the month of August.
I'm just asking a different.
Oh, good, you interjected, because this guy just sounds like his tone and his attitude is just dishonest. This guy just doesn't want to engage.
Are you projecting?
No. Let me ask you something, comedy. All right?
What do you
Have you
want?
been on this app long? Because you sound like a newbie to me.
Well, it's interesting that you asked me that question because I've been here for almost 5 years, and it's a little bit like having a prison sentence, and I can't seem to break free from the jail. What do you think's holding me back?
I think it's your own psychology. I think you're seeking some kind of dopamine hit and serotonin rush. And I feel that this is just a lazy man's drug for you, even worse than marijuana or alcohol.
Well, see, I drink marijuana. I smoke
You
cannabis.
drink marijuana?
I have actually had a THC CBD cocktail, but what I'm saying is
That's great.
I smoke cannabis and I drink Miller High Life with orange juice and sometimes red wine, preferably Pinot Noir, like the not more than $6 bottle type. But what I'm trying to say is, if I were to ask you to convert to Islam, and the benefit would be I'd give you $1 million to fully convert and to become a true believer, would you do the deal?
Yeah, I think I could fake it.
So what you're saying is you can fake it till you make it. And isn't that what everybody
That's
on
right.
this app is actually doing if we ask
I think
them the
so.
truth? But isn't there also like a downside to being on here, 80 hours a week from about 6 a.m. to 6 a.m., 24 hours a day like Andrew and setting up, are you a God believer or are you an atheist? Like, what's the downside to being here for your whole life? Like it's an actual prison. You don't work out, you don't eat, you don't work a job, you don't have a family, you don't have a career, you don't have a girlfriend, you've got no social engagements outside of this app. Like, what's the downside to being all or nothing clown house? Thank you very little for
I wouldn't
entertaining this
know
question
that
that
life,
I'm
bro.
asking.
I wouldn't know that life, so I don't know.
So we've gotten to the point of the roast where everybody's invited. Coleslaw's being passed around, beans, honey baked ham, beans, barbecue chicken, rib roast, prime rib, New York strip, all the good stuff. Everybody's got a Miller High Life. Everybody ready for the party? Great. Let's get started. So the first question I have to ask every hardcore Muslim is, with regards to the Injil, because obviously Islam is just an updated version. And it's the second iteration of Christianity because it includes Jesus, it includes Moses, and Muhammad is just the newest version of God's plan for manifestation of destiny, obviously. So, what is it that I'm missing here, if you don't mind me asking a question?
For the comedy, maybe I in position to respond, not to answer, yeah, to respond. my skill set is on the A style approach. I'm not very much into the Q style approach. I mean, Q style are on debate. In my dictionary, I don't have debate, I don't have argument. Hence, some of the areas that I may be only respond is like, let's say I'm connection to God office, then I will respond, God, what is the wisdom that I can respond to the person that asking? So that's how I'm going to go for. So having that, if you okay with that responding in that manner, then I have something to have that conversation with anybody that asking.
Let's go.
Otherwise, okay, sure. So could you recap the question again? Maybe I can respond accordingly.
Sure. Are you going to give me an answer or a response?
He is very more well versed in this Q style versus A style debate style for your style.
Don't insult Honey Badger. Not everyone's English proficiency is at a level such as yours.
Yes, but you can dodge questions when you're talking about this stuff, and you can
You know, I have come to conclude that actually what I'm asking, this is the ultimate response for all asked questions. It's a bell. Maybe you've heard of a bell. It's not English. It's not Arabic. It's not Spanish. It's not some African dialect or language. It's called a bell. It answers most questions very vociferously in a way that other answers can't answer asked questions. It's called a bell. It's not Pavlovian. It's actually just a Zen bell. Zen is not atheism, as some people like to put it. And again, I'll quote, atheism, not atheism, atheism. It's like asking a question, but basically, it's just a bell. It's maybe a little annoying, but I'd like to say that most people on this app are actually kind of annoying. It's a bell. That's right. It's a bell. Can you answer that question? Or did you need me to summarize what I was asking? Thank you.
I think you were asking me if I like to work out, and yes, I play many sports. I lift weights, I ride mountain bikes. I am mostly a mountain bike shredder, and I like to play the sand volleyball on the beach and in the sand courts. But I mostly lift weights and things not for aesthetics. I do it for performance values such as strength and speed. I'm mostly speed focused working outs. So I try to get good sleep and not be on this app after maybe 11 p.m. because most of the time it is a bunch of fucking idiots. You know what I'm saying?
I think you're overestimating the value of sleep. Being on here 24 hours a day, 7 days a week can only increase your health and performance. Lifting weights, I understand it's not all about aesthetics, but let me ask you a question. When you lift weights and you exercise, do you think your mental health goes up? So maybe there's a connection between mind and body?
That is why I do compound movements with holistic endeavors incorporated most of the time. I do not focus on the bicep. I focus on multidiscipline movements which engage my core as well as shoulders, back, arms, everything is involved. So I don't necessarily need to...
Please be quiet, Habibdi. You're interrupting.
I don't need to do lateral shoulder raises,
Afwan Habibdi, don't interrupt Honey. He's speaking.
Well, I think she is a Muslim woman, and Muslim women are property, so she is very, very happy to be able to engage socially on this application.
Walaikum assalam.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, sister.
Peace be upon them. Is there like a super Muhammad strength or some kind of prayer to I can get the spirit of Allah and Muhammad like inside of my soul? Like how do I unite with Muhammad and Allah?
You need to submit and then you will not get burned in the hell.
What does it mean to submit? And are they really just doing chiropractic exercises when they pray? Are they just like getting a lower spinal crack?
They are trying to tell Allah what is going on because Allah is unaware of what they need to do. So he is very, very open to hearing suggestions.
Peace be upon him. So anyways, I wanted to ask a question, Dr. Soul. Like your title's A-Style and Insane in Core Room, Q-Style Topic Core Room. Like, is that some type of schizo title or am I missing something like, which is dynamically, intelligent. Like, what is your title asking or saying? Thank you.
Oh, hold on, one more checkpoint. He's trying to say that he does not have a very, very good way of debating in a certain style, and so this allows him to dodge questions when asked.
Okay, Brother Comedy, you asking about the title above, yeah?
Yeah, I'm asking about the title. Like,
Sure.
up down triangle, red down triangle. Like, what does the up down triangles mean? Is that like some spiritual
Oh,
thing?
no. Yeah, no, it's a bullet there. I just want to differentiate between A style and Q style. A style is not, A style is on applications. That means mine will be more on my forte will be on application, meaning it's more on experience, case study. I don't even know how to debate in that sense because I'm not even understand how the technology being used, in the spectrum of atheist, non-atheist, all that. Therefore, I'm not mastery in the Q style approach. So I'm more on the practical style approach. Let's say a person says, "So, can you trust doctors?" I would say, "No, until very, very yes." Oh, what do you mean by that? Yeah. What it meant is, over times, I have this 73 doctors in my database.
Oh, I see.
I finally
I
get
got
me
it.
trust me. That's how I respond. Yeah. That's
I was thinking it's
more practical
actually,
reason.
it would be a great idea to create a room where there's a rule where all you can do is ask yes or no questions, and the only answers you can give in the conversation is either yes or no. And there's no breaking from that rule. There's no derivation. So each person just gets like 1 minute to ask a question, and then the other person gets 1 minute to contemplate
That's actually
the
a
answer
good idea,
yes
dude.
or no. So therefore, the person asking the question has to formulate their questions if they want to win the debate to essentially confirm the bias of the other person, meaning that you can if people really obey the rules, you can corner people by asking questions, but no one has the willpower to actually only reply with yes or no. It's like 99.9%.
Dude, that's great. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna host a room like that, and it'll be 30 seconds, not a minute.
Great. And if somebody breaks from the rules from yes or no, kick them immediately. They're a loser in the contest. Immediate de-head, immediate cut the head off immediately. No breaking from the, or you just lose and then the round is up, But try it. I would like to participate because I really would like to see how people respond to yes no rooms with that being the rule.
Or you could add a third option of just like, I don't know. I'm not sure.
Well, in the military, you only have 3 responses. Yes, sir, no, sir, and no excuse, sir. No excuse, sir has saved me so many fucking times because it's just like saying, I need instruction. Don't hate me. I'm a moron.
In the real world, Brother Comedy,
Imagine that in a religious debate room, dude.
in the real practical world, just like I mentioned just now, trusting doctors is practically, I say no until very yes. So that is practically real because you cannot trust doctor until you can trust maybe 3 out of the 73 doctors that you have. So hence, that's more accurate, more precise in the pragmatic ways. That's how I look at it. That's my humble view.
Thank you for sharing that. So, I do want to ask, Sol, are you a believer in Muhammad and his fantastical tale and incredible book, the glorious Quran?
Yeah, precisely. You can, click the link Grayson Brook up there. He has this experience, so maybe there's something that you can look at how he likes it, how you may be pondering about it. Maybe there's an inspiration there. Grayson Brook from Ohio, Texas.
Okay.
A young chap, 23 years old. Yeah.
So what do you think? Like, are most people born into Islam? And then what is the percentage of people that pick up the glorious Quran and they say, oh my God, this is a revelation. This is the best book I've ever read. It's changing my life. I can't believe the divine wisdom of every page. I just can't stop reading it. It's drawing me into Islam because it's so full of wisdom and love and power. What do you think the percentage breakdown is of people being born into the faith or people actually picking up that book and figuring out this divine inspiration? What's the percentage breakdown, you think?
Interestingly, when you ask that, I asked God office, you know what he said? Share with Brother Comedy, saying, in life, we are talking about trial and error, but maybe share with Brother Comedy, is there anything higher than trial and error in life? We call it wisdom and error. So allowing that error to be
Is he
minimized,
answering your question,
that would be a
or
good
is
one.
he talking about something else?
So the response will be very comedy, meaning there is this element of what happened is that in religion is that allowing wisdom and error is much better than trial and error in life. So when a person say I want to have this religion, whatever religion they go for, that means reckon to have wisdom and error. So God will allow that error to be met by that person, and still God say, okay, no problem. So you made this error, but you are wisdomly doing it. It's okay. You are okay with it. I cross one eye for you.
Okay.
Because God's the most
I
just.
think people who response to committee, people who picked the book and read it, I think they are more interested, attracted, and fascinated to the book rather than people who were born in Muslim families and Muslim societies and read the book.
Hey, Saul, is Allah the most just?
Sorry.
Is Allah the most just?
Oh, okay.
Yes
this
or no?
is Chapter.
Yes or no? Or you don't know?
You see the chapter, the surah.
Just answer for me, dude. You're the Muslim. Is Allah the most just? Yes or no?
So if you have read the chapter.
Hello, Saul. I am asking you a question. It is a yes or no question. This is not a long time party, okay? You have to just say it. Just say yes. Yes, he is, okay? This is so mind-numbingly exhausting talking with you.
Then you can just leave.
But why don't you just fucking answer the question I asked you?
Yeah, let me give you the context. If one cell is on X space, you will say no. If you are on Y space, you say yes. Meaning, the Shakespeare say men and women are actors, the world is a stage, and if you can jump behind the scene, that means you're on Y space. That would be very yes. Yeah.
Hello, can you hear me?
Okay.
Can you hear
So
me?
if you are one cell in that position behind the scene, you can see yourself.
This is Allah, and I am very upset with you, Saul.
So
I am watching
as well.
you. I am watching you, and I am very upset. You have been a naughty boy. I am thinking of sending you to hell because your answers are so avoidant. You are making me sleepy. Please,
There's a blessing silver lining there.
obey. Please obey my words.
That's how you treat people, your parents?
No, just you, because you're a fucking numbskull, bro. I treat my parents with respect because they're good people and they answer questions. And they don't beat around the bush and lie like you do.
Yeah, because you limit to the scope of yes and no.
Yeah, because you are
Honey Badger,
skull.
Honey Badger, the way you treat the least of us is really a question of your character. And yes, I'm sure your parents are lovely, wonderful people who know how to answer questions. But have you not noticed that Soul is not a fluent English speaker, and thus this is actually just an English training app, and you're taking it way too seriously.
True. That is true.
You're taking it so seriously. I mean, you're not going to remove the guy's skin and deep fry it and have it for lunch. But let me ask another question, Dr. Soul. If there was no books, okay? Literally, there were no books, therefore no one had the story or the information with regards to Muhammad and his incredible journey story of transformation and joy, or the incredible journey transformation story of Jesus Christ, or the incredible journey transformation of Moses and the Israelites and the Hebrews. If we didn't have books to remind us about all of these incredible journey stories, where would that leave us right now? Would we be on a social audio chat app talking about it right now? Because the point is, none of these books deal with the now. They're all allegories. They're all essentially symbolic, alchemical, tales about how to optimize your life now. What I'm trying to say is, if there weren't these things called books, we would all be stupid and retarded. But with the books, some of us are actually even more stupid and retarded. Thank you very little. I am complete.
This is very interesting when Brother Comedy you talk about that. The living book. When you probably you have heard the Living Quran, what you are looking at is the Mus'haf. So unfortunately, when you look at Mus'haf, is the one which they call it the copy which they have at home. But the Living Book is real time. The one that I have is a real time. So it's just like maybe for example, giving the Matrix first movie, I guess, Neo being download with the real stuff. So that download is the one that I'm experiencing. So therefore, in my capacity as a style approach, the Living Quran is something else. It's higher.
I don't know what you do for a living, but I generally come on Clownhouse 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and don't actually work anymore. But what I'm trying to say is that books are just hypnotherapy documents, and that's all they really are. If we had no books and we had no knowledge, we would therefore have no knowledge of God. We would have to hypothesize about God as opposed to using an analog, which is a book. But really, all books are the same. Some are better than others in terms of therapeutic value. But essentially, all books are just hypnosis documents. And we use them as program material to optimize the now, which is a compression of the past and the future. And therefore, if you take the Quran, which is glorious, literally, you are being hypnotized by a communication technology which is taking you out of the now and making you stupid. Because it's just one book out of hundreds of thousands and millions of books, which are all programs. But a Muslim or a hardcore Mohammedan only likes one specific book and stops and says, well, why would I like other books? This is the most updated version of all the books. Do you know how stupid you must be to really believe that? You could call it faith, but really you're just sticking your head in the dirt and avoiding everything else because maybe you don't like conflict. But anyways, I am complete. Thank you very little for entertaining this question I'm asking.
Yeah, I would like to respond to that. Very comedy. Now, when you mention book, you are looking at the physical aspect of things. Okay, that's one. Two, I just share with you one experience that I had sometime 2 years ago. A person came to me. I can't remember whether it's a Muslim. Maybe he's an agnostic. What he asked me, so are you Sufi? I was like, what? What is Sufi? So I typed key Google search and I thought, oh, this is Sufi. Meaning, what I have not known, but they thought that I have.
I don't think it's pronounced Sufi. I think it's pronounced Sufi.
Sufi, yeah. So anyhow, the whole idea is that there is a real Sufi that is download real time, which I don't even read the book. So-called the book that you buy in bookstore, that is the book. But the Living Quran
is it Rumi who's the Sufi?
Al-Ghaib. Sufi, yeah.
What, that is a branch of Islam, like mystical Islam?
Okay, now I'm just giving you the context. What happened was a person asking me, I think it's an atheist. He said, so, are you Sufi? Then I was like, oh, what is Sufi at the back of my mind? Then I quickly Google search. And I said, this is what it meant by Sufi. In actual, 3 different type of individual asking me. So hence I said, God, what exactly
is it like taking Islam from the back or something? Like, anyways, Dr. Soul, the point is, do you believe that you have a soul? And if so, how do you confirm it? Or is it all based on faith?
Okay, now I just landed with the final one just now, the Sufi. Yeah? So hence, the real Sufi versus Sufi, the one that I have is the real stuff.
Sufi.
Yeah? Now, having that itself, at least the experience that I had was indicating that I have this understanding. Now I come back to your questions. You're asking about soul, right? So now I think there is one word that normally used that if you are asleep, you have your eyes, but you cannot have that.
Wait, if I have to ask you a follow-up question after this, but let me ask you the follow-up question now. Do you think you're the sun? And if so, how do you know?
Okay. So I just respond in that sequence manner, just not the soul itself. So soul can be
So stupid. I mean,
person can say consciousness, meaning when a person is asleep.
because I'm saying like
Even though
soul
you have
is like
eyeball.
the sun in Spanish, and there's that word you. So are you the sun?
Okay, maybe I would high precision, which is they call it.
Maybe not literally, but figuratively. How do you know you're not really the sun or the universe? How do you know anything? It's just all a mystery. Life is so much fun.
So okay, now let's say you have your brain, but mind is unseen, right? The brain is seen, but the mind is unseen. So that is a start point for us to relate. Oh, there's something that unseen that can be pondered upon. So that's where there are terminology that they are used. What they say, subconscious, something along that. So those are the start point of looking at the unseen. So at least that will be something that we can ponder upon. Doesn't mean that vividly has to be understood in that manner. If it does have a meaning to you, then that's a good one. Let's just like a drop of water. It means to you quench your thirst.
Wait, I gotta ask a new question. Do you think people can fool you by pretending to be smart just because they can speak? Meaning that, like, think about all the interactions you've ever had and how you got fooled, because all communication is hypnosis. And you were being polite, but you didn't really know just how stupid that person truly was. And you entertained them with respect because you're a respectful person. But truthfully, they're so stupid and you didn't even know it, because all communication is hypnosis.
Yeah. It's a good one because I like to make this one as a movie, so that everybody else can look at how a person not humble in this stage, So when having that, this is what we exhibit here. Each of us have a role to play. Then if we as actors here, therefore people will gauge, oh, this is a unique and the other actor characteristic, the other person. So having that audience will be listening to it and say, I like.
It's true. Humility is the secret, because technically, I don't know if you know the story about the woman who sponsored this guy for 20 years so he could study and be a priest and all that. But then he was rude to this girl, so she burned his house down. So, honey, take note, like the way you treat the biggest schmucks is a direct mirror of who you are, It's fun to be a clown, but it's, when that makeup comes off, who are you? So the question is, I have to ask, if you know where you came from, does that truly resolve all of your problems?
This room now itself, how it came about is this. God, please give me a test. This is what I'm experiencing right now. I love the test that everybody coming in here. I allow the microphone to be taken up, and as long as they are, do not use the F word, Therefore, there is this human aspect of acting. So therefore, I find, wow, this is a good test for me.
Is that the fun
so
word?
Having that. Sorry. Now, looking at that, when somebody was, saying something else, maybe had a high tone. Then I
Honey, can you pass me the coleslaw, please?
Sorry.
Sorry, I'm at a barbecue. My bad. I'm in my backyard at a barbecue.
Oh.
Putting some New York strip on the barbecue right now. Do you
It's
like barbecues?
Yeah.
Do you like to self-roast?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do that. I do with the slow cooked meat, because carnivores.
No, have you ever self-roasted?
No, not into that for now, because what was that? Jordan Peterson,
No,
right?
self-roast. Have you ever self-roasted? That's the question I'm asking you, Soul. Have you ever self-roasted?
No, it's a good one. Because you are at the backyard, you do all this cooking in that.
No, I'm implying, if you follow my question that I'm asking, are you self-roasting now, or have you ever self-roasted?
Oh, you mean, now I'm trying to understand. You were talking about self-roasting, like they do cooking in the clubhouse, is it?
Yeah, exactly. You're cooking yourself, like in a stew. It's called self-deprecation, not self-immolation, immolation, or self.
Okay. Yeah, I understand.
Excrementation.
I I was thinking that you was talking about physically that you're back there, you do the cooking. Okay,
No, I'm
anyway,
talking
if
about
that is the case,
self-deprecation. You know,
okay.
do you know what
So, I will
self-deprecation
look at,
is?
yeah, I will look at this. Probably you heard about the word self-jihad, which means jihad, J-I-H-A-D. The higher
Wait,
you
before
commit
you
of
go any
self-jihad.
further, so, honey, can you explain to him what a self-roast is according to my theory? Thank you. I mean, maybe not my theory, but the theory. Honey, are you with us? I was asking about self-deprecation and self-roasting. I think it's important that Soul understands what I'm talking about. It might help him on his journey. What do you think, Dr. Honey?
You know, Brother Comedy, when you ask that, it's very interesting to see whatever you have said is a comma, ... Does it mean that whatever you ask is a high density questioning? So that means what is higher density of questioning is, according to your so-called self-roasting, the higher density, higher than that value will be, they call it self-jihad. So self-roasting is
Self-jihad?
superseded by self-jihad. Yeah.
Jesus, you one
Self-jihad.
up everything with jihad. I mean, do you think that's part of the problem in Islam? Is that they're jihadists and that essentially they one up everything and they say, you're wrong, we're right, this is the final take? Don't you see how that's a cognitive distortion in terms of getting to the truth? Now, I'm not saying you got to go into the booth and make a confession on the earth, but if you knew the math, you'd come to a rational conclusion about the truth. Thank you, I'm complete.
Yeah, but you know, when you listen the high position of me mentioning self-jihad, meaning me jihad on me, nothing that to do with the other person. So you are pointing at something else. You are talking about
So it's like
exploits.
burning yourself up and killing yourself. It's like an ego death, is what you're saying. Am I correct when I say ego death?
It's more like this. Yeah, CEO, manager, officer of oneself. Okay, so CEO is managing the officer and the manager. Therefore,
Wait,
the
is this
CEO
about
is-
self-actualization or is this just like a self-roast? And do you know what I mean
No,
when
the
I say
hierarchy.
self-actualization or self-roast? Anyways, I'm looking forward to the ego death.
Yeah.
Please proceed.
So, okay, self-jihad has that element of we align that hierarchy of CEO, manager, officer, that structure. So if you are in CEO, manager, officer of oneself in that three component of oneself, therefore you are aligning hierarchy in a very orderly manner. So when you see
Respect
my
within the
orderly-
hierarchy is essential.
Sorry? Yeah? The question is it?
I was asking, is respect within the hierarchy essential?
Okay, now if you see the corporate structure, CEO, manager, officer, is that essential?
I'm not talking about the board of directors. I'm talking about respect within the hierarchy of management, from the president to the CEO to the vice president to the treasurer to the secretary, and then maybe the board of directors. But actually, what I'm asking you is, have you ever self-roasted?
That's very interesting. That's why I'm superseding that with high density, which is the self-jihad. Self-jihad to oneself, which is aligning the CEO, manager, officer of oneself. If you were to...
So let me ask you another question about this self-jihad. If you're in a shrink, if you're with your psychiatrist and you're on a 5150 hold in the psych ward, and you're with a bunch of schizophrenics who are drooling all over the place from their medications, and they're potentially violent, how do you respond with regards to self-jihad and the situation? Are you a situationalist?
I'm not even in that space, you know. Imagine that. I'm not qualified. I don't stand on that space because that space is... I'm just too much on the outside looking at that, and I really empathy those individuals that are having that problem. So your line of questioning
But
is...
what does Islam think about psychiatry and medicating those with schizophrenic delusional disorders, which could result in violent terrorist jihadist outbreaks of conflict, war, murder, rape, maybe incest, maybe pederasty? I'm just asking for a friend.
Yeah. That's a mental health. Anything higher than mental health, we call it, high value health on top of that, which is your heart, the inner voice health. At least you say, use your inner voice to ponder, so that it can be overriding that mental health.
Can
that
Allah and Muhammad help
hierarchy.
influence
Some of
the
them
inner
make sense to
voice? If I read Glorious
It's a good
Quran,
subject.
yes, very good subject. If I read Glorious
it's a good
Quran,
subject.
can it help with my mental health disorder?
Okay, now I reckon. Okay, next is you click that chapter, click the Gresham book. That would be a good one for you to really ponder. So that's why my name, Soul Separation.
Thank you, Dr. Soul.
Consideration.
Can't thank you enough for this. I can't thank you enough for this
Appreciate
help.
it.
You are doing such. You are doing Allah's work. God bless you, sir.
Appreciate that. It's that. Yeah, Brother Antar, you are here too. And then Essos, use. Appreciate you coming in here.
Well, I'm gonna go to the park. I'm gonna go to the park and read the glorious Quran and contemplate your soul, my soul, the world. Do you think the earth has a soul?
I assume that you are a person to yourself. Maybe you are Christian. Do you have this? They say when during pregnancy time on the 4th month 10 days, God's blown the soul into the fetus or the mother's womb. If there is such an understanding, that means we are common having understanding that there is this something that going on the 4th month until birth, the baby is born. That means there is embedded the CO, manager, officer of oneself in completeness. So this baby is born living a life. Otherwise, if the CO is not there, therefore this person, the baby is is dead somehow. So that's where the difference between a living baby and the dead baby in the sense, because the CO is no longer there, or
The
CO is
chances of you
residing
seeing
in
this
that
YouTube short are
hierarchy manner. Over time, they become more on manager override, CO being suppressed, the souls are not being known, going to school on technical messages, so they don't fit the higher being of the CO, therefore they become jumbled up, not knowing what exactly I'm born in this world for. Something wrong there.
Interesting. Well, I'm actually a video producer, creator, living in the Hollywood Hills in Mount Olympus. I work for Viacom Network, and I want to thank you for being on our prank call show called Self-Actualization Comedy. It's a roast about self-deprecation, ego death, the truth of the earth. Can't thank you enough. I put the link in the chat, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you very little. We'll call you, don't call us. I don't think he understands what the hell I just said.
The master Soyen Shaku passed from this world when he was 61 years of age. Fulfilling his life's work, he left a great teaching, far richer than that of most Zen masters. His pupils used to sleep in the daytime during midsummer, and while he overlooked this, he himself never wasted a minute. When he was but 12 years old, he was already studying Tendai philosophical speculation. One summer day, the air had been so sultry that little Soyen stretched his legs and went to sleep while his teacher was away. 3 hours passed when, suddenly waking, he heard his master enter, but it was too late. There he lay, sprawled across the doorway. "I beg your pardon. I beg your pardon," his teacher whispered, stepping carefully over Soyen's body, as if it were that of some distinguished guest. After this, Soyen never slept again in the afternoon. Our schoolmaster used to take a nap every afternoon, related a disciple of Soyen Shaku. We children asked him why he did it, and he told us, "I go to dreamland to meet the old sages just as Confucius did. When Confucius slept, he would dream of ancient sages and later tell his followers about them. It was extremely hot one day, so some of us took a nap. Our schoolmaster scolded us. We went to dreamland to meet the ancient sages, the same as Confucius did," we explained. "What was the message from those sages?" our schoolmaster demanded. One of us replied, "We went to dreamland and met the sages and asked them if our schoolmaster came there every afternoon, but they said they had never seen any such fellow." Joshu began the study of Zen when he was 60 years old and continued until he was 80 when he realized Zen. He taught from the age of 80 until he was 120.
When I say higher, I'm not saying that higher income comparison, but higher in terms of the hierarchy itself. There is the greater inflation, there is hierarchy. That's not.
So you don't think there's a? Do you think there's a hierarchy in this room? I mean, yes, you have the green bean, but you don't seem to me to be like a hierarchical person. I mean, what do you think about people that play this like one-upmanship game for hierarchical purposes, you might say, in terms of linguistics and intellect, and essentially, control and politic or appeal to authority?
A student once asked him, "If I haven't anything in my mind, what shall I do?" Joshu replied, "Throw it out." "But if I haven't anything, how can I throw it out?" continued the questioner. "Well," said Joshu, "then carry it out." When Mamiya, who later became a well-known preacher, went to a teacher for personal guidance, he was asked to explain the sound of one hand. Mamiya concentrated upon what the sound of one hand might be. "You're not working hard enough," his teacher.
Have you ever heard of Zen koans, Dr. Soul? And if not, would you let me just play a couple minutes from a fantastic audiobook called 101 Zen Stories, a compilation of Zen koans?
No go. I'm sorry, no go for now because there are other brothers that like to also come up. Maybe Brother Wasim. Oh, welcome, Brother Wasim. I'm sorry, will not be able to for now.
Told him.
Yeah. Okay. So
What I'm trying to say is that the now is all important.
okay. Yeah. Okay.
And so if all you do is talk all the time and you never listen, are you really even there right now? Hello? Hello? Anybody home?
Brother Comedy.
Hello? Where did you come from? If you know where you came from, you'll solve all your problems. You'll stop thinking. The more you think, the more you speak, the further from the truth you're gonna get. You're never gonna learn the math of the earth. It's impossible. Just let it go. Just let it all go. You are the Buddha. You are what you're seeking. You are what you're seeking. And what you're seeking is seeking you. Hello?
Brother Comedy, I'd like to ask you, what is your intentions of having?
I'm a self-actualization comedian.
Oh, okay. Now I understand where you're coming from. The comedian is more core, right?
Hello? Is anybody there?
Okay.
Hello? Can you pass me the barbecue chicken and some more Miller High Life? I'd love a glass with some ice if you have it. Thank you.
Culture of this room may need to bring down, asking kindly not to do that.
Ooh, I would love some chocolate cake. Coffee? Yes, of course. Nespresso? Oh, I love it. Sure, I'll help you clean up. Where's the garbage at?
It's very interesting, the Brother Comedy, oh, Brother Anta, you are here. Yes.
I just have a question. Who drank Miller High Life with ice and who drinks Miller High Life from a glass?
Who doesn't drink Miller High Life from a glass with ice and orange juice and cinnamon on top? I call it a beer mosa.
People don't know. Yeah, some people don't know what you're talking about.
Anybody want to go to the beach and go sailing? Bring your bikinis. I got the towels. I'll bring the water and the Miller High Life with orange juice and cinnamon for beer mosas.
That's nice one, though. I like that. That's good. I like that. Miller High Life.
Muslims are not invited. Sorry, gotta be an atheist to get on this pleasure boat.
So, what's the topic, though?
The topic obviously is the glorious Quran and all the great power and opportunity it has for your opportunity. See, don't you understand that if Allah, Sultan bin Muhammad, is the blessed Holy One, and Allah, is God and Muhammad the messenger, the point is that you guys should literally be reading the Quran right now to us if it's so glorious. Instead, you're here just, getting dopamine creation, but you're not actually transmitting any message whatsoever. I'm actually a communications consultant comedian here to inform you gentlemen that you're wasting your time but not by not even reciting anything. You should be reciting glorious Quran.
Checkpoint. Okay, Antar is talking to me, asking me question.
Oh, my bad. There's hierarchy here. I want to respect that hierarchy.
Now, Antar, you asking me about the room just now. The room it is new findings. I mean, not new finding. Higher.
She's not gonna help.
Okay.
No, what?
Yeah.
You have.
So here,
You have
shut
to-
up. Just shut the fuck up.
Okay.
Okay. So we're gonna do a cue now. We're gonna do a cue now because you're making it necessary. Okay.
Well, that's not what you
So,
said. Y'all said that me and Solomon could finish and then y'all could tap in.
Yeah.
I'll watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You also said it would only take like a minute or two, and I think people got impatient.
I didn't realize
So-
y'all were counting minutes because you let Concrete talk for like 3.
About
count
nothing.
Alright,
About
so-
nothing.
In the interim,
That's
in the
what it
interim,
is.
He was targeting. He wasn't talking.
okay. So right now,
Yeah. So this is not complicated. People just
Is
need
that
to follow the conversation.
God is the why. God is the why. No, God is the why because there has to be something. So we have to call that something.
That's it. End the story. Case closed. See how
And
you let
doesn't prove
Tweedledee
that
and
God exists. It
Tweedledum
just
just
means that,
say
like-
whatever they want whenever they want?
It just no. See, this is what you're doing, Concrete. Solomon and I are actually trying to have a genuine
Did you
conversation.
not?
We shouldn't be judged because on this judgment we will be judged. That's why I'm telling Rabbi. Rabbi believe, but he don't do the works. It doesn't mean that he is saved. We cannot declare ourselves to be saved either. We can say, okay, we have to believe in Jesus and all that stuff so we can be saved, but we still have to do something for it.
All right, Frankie, how long do you go? You go on forever. You talk all the time. You never listen, Frankie.
wasting the goddamn time.
I mean, again, Frankie, I understand it, but you're just not giving me a sufficient answer for Ephesians 2:8. Until you do so, I don't care about this conversation.
Ephesians, the church, they're still in business. What are you complaining about?
It's all about the money. It's all about the money.
It is all about the money. You see these cardinals, these bishops in Rome, they're worth trillions of dollars.
Hey,
Trillions of dollars.
Watch your mouth. Watch your mouth, motherfucker. Yeah, that's right.
The point is, when you know, and those who say do not know, and those who know do not say. Hey, what do you know, Keegan? What do you know, Frankie? The fact is that your mouth is open, and you see that fish on that wall there? You know how that fish got there? It opened its mouth!
Damn. Okay, I gotta play this clip. It's totally unrelated, but you're gonna find me. Okay. This is Michelle Obama on her own podcast.
I wanted to talk, Marlon, a bit about
We're too attached to food, wealth, things, and that sound. It would be better if you died. That would solve the problem. The next time Mamiya appeared before his teacher, he was again asked what he had to show regarding the sound of one hand. Mamiya at once fell over as if he were dead. You're dead, all right, observed the teacher. But how about that sound? I haven't solved that yet, replied Mamiya, looking up. Dead men do not speak, said the teacher. Get out. Tosui was a well-known Zen teacher of his time. He had lived in several temples and taught in various provinces. The last temple he visited accumulated so many adherents that Tosui told them he was going to quit the lecture business entirely. He advised them to disperse and to go wherever they desired. After that, no one could find any trace of him. 3 years later, one of his disciples discovered him living with some beggars under a bridge in Kyoto. He at once implored Tosui to teach him. If you can do as I do for even a couple of days, I might, Tosui replied. So the former disciple dressed as a beggar and spent a day with Tosui. The following day, one of the beggars died. Tosui and his pupil carried the body off at midnight and buried it on a mountainside. After that, they returned to their shelter under the bridge. Tosui slept soundly the remainder of the night, but the disciple could not sleep. When morning came, Tosui said, "We do not have to beg food today. Our dead friend has left some over there." But the disciple was unable to eat a single bite of it. "I've said you could not do as I," concluded Tosui. "Get out of here and do not bother me again." When Bankei held his seclusion weeks of meditation, pupils from many parts of Japan came to attend. During one of these gatherings, a pupil was caught stealing. The matter was reported to Bankei with the request that the culprit be expelled. Bankei ignored the case. Later, the pupil was caught in a similar act, and again Bankei disregarded the matter. This angered the other pupils, who drew up a petition asking for the dismissal of the thief, stating that otherwise they would leave in a body. When Bankei had read the petition, he called everyone before him. "You are wise brothers," he told them. "You know what is right and what is not right. You may go somewhere else to study if you wish. But this poor brother does not even know right from wrong. Who will teach him if I do not? I'm going to keep him here, even if all the rest of you leave." A torrent of tears cleansed the face of the brother who had stolen. All desire to steal had vanished. During the Kamakura period, Shinkan studied Tendai 6 years and then studied Zen 7 years. Then he went to China and contemplated Zen for 13 years more. When he returned to Japan, many desired to interview him and asked obscure questions. But when Shinkan received visitors, which was infrequently, he seldom answered their questions.